Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Craig Flint. Time for another weekly installment of Weather Academy here. You know, doing things a little differently. We were doing it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday last time around. This time around, it'll be a weekly segment that we do here on yourerie.com. So we thank you for being here, and of course, don't forget, if you have any questions or something you want us to explore, let us know. Weather at WJETTV.com is where you can find the email and shoot us your email and let us know if there's a topic that you want us to explore. So this is just kind of like a beyond the forecast, if you will. Now, we started a new month on Tuesday, right? So we still technically are in summer, but we're going to talk about fall. Because meteorologically speaking, we define fall, as in meteorologists, define fall as September, October, and November. Now, by the standard Gregorian calendar, fall doesn't officially arrive until the 22nd of September, so still a little summer, but for our purposes, it is fall. So let's kind of break this down as to why. So meteorological fall. You know, we still follow the rules, if you will, for the seasons. We have spring, summer, fall, and winter. They're just a little bit different from what the standard Gregorian calendar says that you know. So for meteorological summer, June, July, August, we're going to recap that, and we're going to kind of talk about meteorological fall here, which is defined as September, October, and November. Well, you might be wondering why, because, well, that's when our average high and low temperatures start to decrease as we get towards the typical fall season, which again, the autumnal equinox by the regular calendar, if you will, is September 22nd, and it arrives at 9:30. That's when the sun's rays, the direct sunlight, directly over the equator, hence the word equinox. If you look closely, equi, right? So equal. So that's when fall officially arrives by the Gregorian calendar. For us, we are into meteorological fall now, which starts September 1st. And don't forget, as we head towards November, daylight saving time ends. Now, I want to quickly just take a minute. It's kind of silly, but it's one of my pet peeves, if you will. It's daylight saving time. There's no S at the end of saving. It's not daylight savings time. Daylight saving time, that will end on November 1st. So that means we fall back. So a lot of fall going on as we head through this month of September into October and November. Not only do temperatures fall, but we also fall back as we get towards the end of October and into November. So that's kind of meteorological fall in a nutshell, September, October, November. Let's talk about the summer, meteorological summer, which is June, July, and August. So we went back through and we kind of crunched some numbers here, and we break these down by month. So June, July, August, that's your meteorological summer. And all total, when you look at June, July, and August, we're talking about 92 days total. So we went back and looked through, because no doubt about it, it was a warm, hot summer in terms of meteorological summer anyway. So highs above 80 in June. We had 16 of the 30 days in June that were above 80. July, look at that. Almost every day in July was above 80. There were a few in there that weren't, that fell just short. But 29 days at or above 80 of the 31 days for July. And for August, we had 21 days of the 31 that were at or over 80. Now, also on the lower end of things, lows above 60 degrees, so 60 degrees or higher in June, 20 of the 30 days, okay? So there were 10 where we dropped below 60. Same deal in July, 20 of the 31 days were above 60 degrees for a low temperature, and then 26 of the 31 days in August stayed above 60 degrees for low temperatures. So no doubt about it, warm. The extremes, 96 on July the 10th, and the coolest was way back on June 1st in the morning when it was 46 degrees. So if you do all the math here, 72% of the days in meteorological summer, June, July, and August, were at least 80 or higher. And for lows, no slouch either. 83% of the days having at least 60 degrees or higher for lows. So no doubt about it, it was definitely a warm, soupy summer. And even though technically speaking, we still have a few weeks left, remember, the equinox not happening until the 22nd, we are starting to get indications now that there's going to be much more fluctuation, much more temperature swings as we head through September. And that's pretty typical. You know, it's getting to that time of the year. You know, we're losing the daylight. You're going to start hearing the words lake effect and frosted freeze. That's coming. Like 4 to 8 weeks, it'll be here. And we are starting to get indications that the pattern will become much more variable as we head into September. As a matter of fact, let's take a look down the road here. So this is for next week, after Labor Day. What's happening is at the jet stream level, and you got to remember, we look at the jet stream because it drives weather here at the surface. So whenever you see a signature like this, okay, there's a big, what we call a trough or dip at the jet stream level. That opens up the floodgates from Canada for some cooler air to start spilling south. Now, there's some discrepancy amongst the long-range models on where exactly this trough sets up. But based on everything we're seeing right now, it looks like the core of the chilliest air will be here in the upper Midwest. So that means places like Minneapolis and parts of South Dakota, North Dakota, even into Nebraska, northern Missouri, Iowa, likely going to have their first frosted freeze. And we already had reports of the first snow already in the high peaks of Colorado. So again, sign of the times. So that's what the jet stream orientation is going to look like, we think, as we head into next week. But notice for us here in Northwest PA, we're kind of just on the cusp of it, right? So that's why we think the core of the coolest air will be to the west. But as we go in just a little bit closer, you can see, again, just kind of on the core, or just kind of on the cusp of the core of the coolest air with the chilliest weather back to the west. So this is what we're looking at as we head through September. Much more variability. The jet stream starting to kind of kink and bend a little bit more as opposed to that kind of zonal feature that we see where we kind of zone out in the summer and you have these fast-moving weather systems. The other thing to remember, when the jet stream has an orientation like this, to get storms to form, you need to have that battle. It's that temperature contrast in the atmosphere as the atmosphere tries to balance out. Now, if you remember several episodes ago, I was talking about how the atmosphere is kind of a neat freak, right? So it doesn't like to be messy. It likes to be tidy. The problem is it's rarely ever tidy, and we're always trying to overcompensate. The atmosphere is always trying to overcompensate for those that variability, that temperature difference. And when you get temperature differences, that's when you get storms that fire up where that, what we call baroclinicity in the atmosphere is, that temperature contrast. So that's kind of a peek ahead. We discussed meteorological summer, June, July, August, and how warm it was. And then we also kind of discussed meteorological fall, which September, October, November, of course, officially by the Gregorian calendar, fall arriving on the 22nd of September. And don't forget, daylight saving time ends as we head towards November 1st. And as we go into September, it looks like we will start to see more variation becoming more commonplace as we head through this month and then deeper into October and November. But it makes sense. So just so you know, that time of the year is not too far away. Another 4 to 8 weeks. We'll see how everything plays out. So that's kind of a peek into what we define as seasons in terms of meteorologists. Meteorological summer, June, July, August. Meteorological fall, June, July, that was June, July, August for summer. Meteorological fall, September, October, November. And then we get into meteorological winter, December, Jan, Feb. Because climatologically speaking, when you look at all the statistics, that's when the temperatures match up to the seasons in terms for us as meteorologists. Alrighty, that's the latest installment of Weather Academy. Don't forget, we're here every Wednesday, and we are glad you're part of it with us. And again, if you have any questions or concerns or something you want us to look into, don't forget you can email us weather@wjettv.com. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next week.